The untold truth about money.
I am sitting on $5 million in cash. One of you will walk away with the life-changing, record-shattering grand prize of $5 million.
Mr. Beast recently turned down a $1 billion offer for his YouTube channel. He said maybe if it was 10 or 20 billion, I would even consider it. Do you think that he made a bad call?
Let's do some basic math. His most viewed video is 293 million views. That's the $456,000 Squid Game. His one channel alone has generated a minimum of $850 million, and I'm calculating only one commercial. I think he's right. 10 to 20 billion dollars is the right number.
With these earnings, Mr. Beast is on track to become the first billionaire YouTuber.
I hated school. I had a month where I made 20 grand, and then I came home and I was like, yeah, I haven't been going to college, and I moved out the next day. My mom almost had a heart attack because she doesn't understand YouTube or anything.
What's the secret of success?
To be honest, just find something you love doing and do it for a long period, and eventually you'll succeed. If you look up, it's recording. All right, well, I'm gonna get close. All right.
I think so many people just are so materialistic, and that's just what they chase, and I really don't want that lifestyle. When you die, why does it matter? You know what I mean? All this like materialistic stuff. I really just want to focus on building the business and helping people, because I feel like that's more what matters in life. You know what I mean?
Guys, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to bring someone to the Rebel Capitalist show that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. I am so excited he is here. He is a man that needs no introduction whatsoever. His name is Robert Kiyosaki.
I flunked out of high school twice because I can't write. And it's not that I can't write, it's the teacher didn't like what I was writing. I'm flunking out of school. And it's not that I love learning, I just hated school.
My banker doesn't care if I had good grades or not. Because Rich Dad never finished school. Here's a financial statement. This is the basis of financial literacy. Income, expense, assets, liabilities. They don't teach this in school. So this was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's all I did. Financial literacy is what's the definition of a word? What's an income? What's an expense? Asset, liability. But more important, this here was Poor Dad. All he cared about was his income. What the rich care about is the balance sheet. And so the object of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, what school teachers focus on here to what the rich focus on here. And my poor dad is now broke. PhD didn't help. And so I'll ask everybody this question again. What does school teach you about money? Answer is nothing. That's not a mistake, Vlad. It's part of the Communist Manifesto. Our school teachers will never tell us this. People that are being screwed today are the poor middle class because they work for money. You know, the banker friends, they're not working for money.
They have money working for them.
Yeah. Right. Very big difference in mentality here.
Coming up next. In this next episode, you will discover another money lessons that you will never, ever learn in any traditional schools. You will also find out another 2 big reasons why
the whole thing was designed to keep you poor.
Nobody thinks about anything other than surviving, and that is why precisely Kim keeping us starving mode.
So he's purposely starving the people to keep them weak so that all they think about is surviving, so they don't think about revolution.
It's a Hunger Games.
Every time we get a little bit more ownership, a little bit more money, we become harder to control. And when you're harder to control, big institutions and largely our governments, they don't like that.
Central bank digital currency, anyone that decides to stand up and fight against the government could be pressed down simply with the push of a button.
And I think it's really important to elaborate on what exactly that is. A central bank digital currency is basically what we have now, so it's fiat currency, but it's going to be entirely digital, which means absolutely in the control of the government. government and the central bank. So as you mentioned, government, since they own it, they're able to program it in a way that we've never seen before.
And you obsess on, can I become fluent in the thing that nobody talks about in the US because money is supposed to be the root of all evil.
62% of Americans don't want to talk about money.
Yeah.
Because like you just said, we've created this narrative that money is the root of all evil. Someone actually said this to me where if you look up the actual reference, it says love of money is the root of all evil.
I never knew that.
Now it's clear to us that corrupt banks, schools, and governments are like best friends. And one of their common goals is to keep people poor. They don't want the people to learn about money. And they don't want us to talk about money. So let's do the opposite. Let's talk more about money.
And use money, what we know as money, and making a lot of money, the way we make money.
What was the most amount of money that you...
Because money is supposed to...
This narrative that money, love of money, is the root of all evil.
Money. But when it comes to money, a little bit more money, we'll talk about money where money starts.
And you know what? The fact is, God teaches us a lot about money.
A lot of you might just go, well, doesn't the Bible say that money is the root of all evil? Well, it actually doesn't say that. As a matter of fact, it says in 1 Timothy that the love of money is the root of all evil. It also says in Jude 3 that in the last days there will be difficult times for people who love only themselves and their money. So it's not money, it's the love of money. And we'll talk about budgeting and financial discipline. In the Bible, in Proverbs 21:20, it says, precious treasure and oil are in a wise man's dwelling, but a foolish man devours it. You see, a wise man stores up those things that he needs, but a foolish man doesn't. A foolish man doesn't think about it, that they just consume. We need to be cautious of debt. Now, Dave Ramsey, again, I'm not a big fan of his. He says that you should not have debt. You should pay off all your debt. But it fails to take into consideration that we are in a debt-based monetary system.
Why is debt tax-free?
I don't know.
Because that's how money is created. And so the banks love it.
And that means that money is created through debt. And so if we want to build wealth, then we sort of need to learn how to use debt. We have to learn how to use it responsibly. So Dave Ramsey's right for the majority of people because they've never learned how to use it responsibly, but that's not me and you. I think of debt sort of like fire, where fire can warm up my house, but if I'm not responsible with it, it could also burn my house down. So you can also think about other ways that debt could be bad. So for example, people go to college and get student loans. And now this becomes this form of bondage where now they have to work to pay off that debt. They couldn't take time off, things like that. But the real practical tip here is be careful with the debt. Avoid really like high interest debt, what I would call bad debt. These would be like unnecessary loans, using debt to do consumable things like going on vacation and things like that. Proverbs 22:27, it says that the rich rule over the poor and that the borrower is slave to the lender.
I borrow money and I buy assets with it. By 2010, I had borrowed $300 million to buy real estate that made me rich. So the question is, how do you learn to use debt to get rich?
Good debt would be using debt for making more money, buying rental properties, building a business, things like that. Tangible assets. Proverbs 19:14 says that house and wealth, two tangible things, house and wealth are inherited from fathers, but a prudent wife from the Lord. That's another tip. Have a good wife. Good luck choosing one. Luckily, I got lucky with that. The things that I build along the way, the houses, the property, the assets, the businesses, that is proof of my work that I've done in this world. And those assets sort of are maybe the scorecard. Now, we've talked about what to do with money and how we help other people, but those assets should be things that I can pass down into future generations. And I think of them as things that are like trophy assets, trophy properties that are scarce that I can pass down. Bitcoin's a perfect example of this again. The world needs you to be wealthy. The world needs you to be wealthy and successful because we need to, you and I, we need to be leading the world by example. right? If we fail to do that, if we fail to take personal responsibility, we're going to become dependent on the tyrants who are always going to be happy to tell us what to do.
And the reality is, a good person who has a lot of money.
I am sitting on $5 million in cash. One of you will walk away with the life-changing, record-shattering grand prize of $5 million.
Can do more good things to people who are in need.
You're about to witness a family that lives in this house go to living in this house. And I cannot wait to see the look on their faces.
Oh my.
What you're looking at is your brand new home. The trip we sent you guys on was just a decoy so we could have time to build this brand new house for you. We noticed that you guys might need some new furniture, so we completely furnished your new home. Now, on top of electricity, you have a water tank for running water. We put bunk beds in this room for 2 of the kids. We are building and giving away 100 houses, and each home is going to change a family's life. Like this family, who didn't have a house to call their own, and they have no idea we just built them one. Take off your blindfolds and turn around. Behind you is your brand new home. Oh, I was not expecting that reaction. She is freaking out. Let's go give away another house. With every single home we're building in this video, we're improving quality of life. And we spend millions of dollars just on this video building these houses. Because here in Jamaica, there are currently over 500,000 people living in unsafe, life-threatening conditions, like this next family, whose house is so unsafe and unstable that it could literally collapse on them at any given moment. So you built this place?
Yeah.
We've built rows of new houses for this community. No joke, we're giving away this home, 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 this home. There's a lot of homes. So I'm not even sure how to react. I appreciate it, everyone.
A guest.
How's it going? Oh, you having a good day? It's nice meeting you. One of the teachers showed me where the students currently get their water. This is where your students used to get water from?
Yes.
This is crazy.
Yeah. You know, students complaining of diarrhea, infections like typhoid, because this is the water we've been using. So we try to treat, but you see, look at it, you know, but at the end of the day, life has to move on. You have to get some water anyway.
These children's lives are being limited and sometimes cut short from being forced to drink unsafe water. But at least for this village, we're gonna put an end to it right now. Let's see if we can find some water. After the water comes out of the ground, it's fed into enormous barrels like this one. And once they're built into the water towers, all of the neighboring villages will not only have clean drinking water, but a pressurized water source as well. We built 20 more wells in Kenya, and after we were done, Bro has another well in. Don't worry, I have more water in my other shoe. And just so you know how we built these first 29 wells, we used this giant drill to dig hundreds of feet into the ground, past the polluted sources and into an enormous aquifer of pure drinkable water.
Hey, thank you for the water.
Oh, no problem. This thing can basically pump non-stop for 30 years. You would think that having an effect of this magnitude would require the resources and funding of a large government. But that's not true. Solving this problem is possible, and something humanity should all be putting effort in to fix.
And if you're also a good person, you will